So let me break that down for you. The concept of emotional intelligence is to be able to be aware of one's emotional state and be able to control it. Like anything else, artificial intelligence is able to learn on its own. Well, there's variations of artificial intelligence. You have closed artificial intelligence or weak AI, like a language translator, like Babel or Google Translate or something like that, to where it operates within the parameters of what's put in it. Then you have something that's more open source, like the Chat GPTs and stuff, to where it the more information you put into it, the smarter it gets. So it continues to grow and it continues to learn on its own. You're no different. Obviously, everything is based off of the human body or the human brain. So because of that, you have to remember that the first form of any of this stuff is all up here. So to be aware of your emotional state, to be able to not know, like I know what my triggers are, but to be able to control my triggers and redistribute those triggers into being able to articulate them properly without going off the deep end.
But that's self-awareness, and then that's also cognitive reasoning to understand.
The cognitive reasoning is driving a car and being able to avoid a car accident. It has nothing to do with emotion.
Same thing.
Not the same.
That means I know that if I get into it with this dude, it's gonna go off on the deep end. We're gonna have a serious accident right now.
Emotional intelligence requires you to be so self-aware that you know how to conduct yourself in certain settings where things could be of any type. Like if your woman cries and you are really not sympathetic or empathetic to her situation, but you can still muster enough empathy to get you through to the other side, that's an act of act of emotional intelligence. To be able to, like my cats. Oh my God, they get on my nerves. Walk in the door. First thing, the second I'm walking the door. To not, after a hard day of work, last thing I want to hear is them screaming, yelling at my face when I walk in the door from work. In lieu of throwing a shoe at them or doing something ridiculous, you control yourself. You capture that emotion of what you want to do that really, my day was bad, it had nothing to do with them. Go feed them. You know what they want. So rather than me distributing my anger to another area, I'm able to control it, compartmentalize it, redistribute it into a proper fashion, and then come out victorious on the other side.
I guess. I mean, saying the definition says the ability to acquire, and apply knowledge and skills. So I guess, let's look up what reasoning is. The act of thinking about something in a logical, sensible way. That is what reasoning means.
So again, logic is based off of, reasoning is based off of logic. Emotions and logic are the antithesis of each other. They have nothing to do with each other. Because logic is based off what makes sense, and emotion is based off what you feel. Sometimes what you feel don't make sense. Sometimes you wake up in a bad mood and you don't know why. Sometimes small things that would not bother you are bothering you. It's 80 degrees today. Oh man, it's a beautiful day today and tomorrow. Why is it so freaking hot?
Check it out. So, real quick. All right. Here's a brief summary of a book called Intelligence and Information Processing or something like that. The Cambridge Handbook of Intelligence. This is chapter 21.
Mm-hmm. You can put it up on the screen for the people to see?
I can.
Remember, we share knowledge around here, Cut.
Okay. It says reasoning, problem solving, and decision making represent different but overlapping aspects of human intelligence. Okay. The researchers followed a cognitive psychological approach to study the reasoning study the responses of a small number of participants to logical tasks such as syllogisms. Did I say that right? Syllogisms or formal logic tasks. The theories dominating psychological theorizing about reasoning are mental rules and mental models. Both theories were first applied to the study of the deductive reasoning tasks. There go that word again, and then applied to a broader range of reasoning tasks. Human reasoning occurs at different levels of awareness. Most cognitive scientists distinguish between tacit and intentional or explicit reasoning processes. It's kind of deep. I might read this chapter. I'm not going to read the whole book, I promise you that, but I may read chapter 21 based off the summary of it. One of the most important controversies about reasoning abilities is the intent in which individuals' differences in reasoning abilities overlap with individual differences in working memory capacity. I don't know. What you think? What you think out of that?
I mean, it details reasoning down to a science, but it has nothing to do with emotional intelligence whatsoever.
Yeah, it didn't go there. No, it didn't
Yeah,
go there.
because again, we when you're dealing with something logical, you're dealing with something based off of deductive reasoning. And deductive reasoning means that you have to be able to take a series of points and be able to put them together to find the best possible outcome of said decision. With emotional intelligence,
Emotional.
unfortunately, it's all about how you feel. The ability to measure both emotions and understand emotions of people around you.
Self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills.
So basically, soft skills. It's basically mastering soft skills such as empathy, sympathy, being able to manage your ability to understand self and understand the temperature of a room. So if I see you and like you call me and it's like you on the phone, let's go. Immediately I know what mood you in. You're not going to start off with a high energy in a phone conversation and then jump into, man, everything is going wrong. Like, it usually don't coincide. But then it's like if you start off the conversation very melancholy, it's kind of like, okay, well, maybe he had a slow start to his day. Maybe, you know what I'm saying, he had a couple of words before he left the house. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some money didn't hit the account that was supposed to hit there. It might be a series of different things. So immediately my emotional intelligence asks me to, hey, what's wrong? Oh, nothing wrong. Just, just getting my day started. Oh, okay, cool. You try to find the right emotional context to be able to match the energy that you present in order to avoid going too far or too low, depending on what your circumstances are. You try to match, basically, hold that concept of matching energy.
Okay. They actually entered that into Oxford. Okay.
So, my concept of emotional intelligence, does it exist to you now?
It's all still, you know what I'm saying?
It's still a new concept to you, or it's still something that you have to research further into?
It's a new concept in general because look, they got these built models and all these different, you know what I'm saying, modules and all that built around it and all that. When have you heard the term emotional intelligence used before it became used?
The
It's
first
brand
time
new.
that I heard the term emotional intelligence used was in 2018.
There you go. It's new.
Well, there's a lot of things that's new. You got to remember, bootylicious was added to the dictionary, bro. Like it wasn't in there from.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
That
always.
made sense.
I mean, but look, it's always going to be some new thing because there's always some study that we don't know. There's always some area that we don't know. I mean, what does the spleen do?
We still don't know.
I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure somebody knows. But at the same time, it's kind of like, you know,
I mean, this is good though. I'm reading this. This is pretty good. You know,
yeah. I mean, the thing is that self
to me, it
awareness.
just sounds like a normal human. Like it just sounds like a normal
But
person.
that's what it's about. It's about making you
That's
aware
what
of.
I'm like.
But again, it's like that's what it's about. It's about making you aware of those attributes of self, and not just self, but make you aware of the attributes of other people. Because the thing that a lot of us, because again, and here go another one of those unrealistic expectations, is the fact that a man is generally held to the standard of being stoic, being emotionless, being very cut and dry. So to talk to a man in general about emotional intelligence is bah humbug. That doesn't exist. I don't want to hear that mess. Ain't it like no? It's this. Stop whining. Get up. You get it done. And like we respond to the David Goggins and the and the Andrew Tates and these guys who are very one way. We respond to those guys a lot of the time, and the reason why we respond to those guys, we respond to them, is solely because of the fact that how their presentation embodies that figure of ultimate tough guy, that manhood, that alpha type of mentality. Well, see, the problem is the fact that that's the role that they play in front of us. I don't know who those guys are with their children, with their spouses, with the, and again, like if they have children or whatever. I don't know who they are with their sisters and brothers. I don't know who they are with their loved ones. I'm pretty sure you're not rah when you're sitting next to your mother having a phone conversation. I'm pretty like rah when you're sitting there telling your son good work, good job on that test that he did today. I'm sure you're not rah when you're sitting there having a conversation with your woman about something that's bothering her today. So you don't get to see that part. It's like the whole theory of the many hats. So one thing I learned in school as of recent and as of old is that we wear many hats throughout the day. When I'm talking to a female employee, I don't talk to her in the same way that I talk to a male employee. I'm talking to a male employee that may have did time in the military. I'm not talking to him the same way I'm talking to somebody that's been a civilian their whole life. Sometimes when I talk to this guy, he wanted raw. He like, listen, just tell me what you need me to do and leave me alone. Cool, got it. When I go talk to this guy, he needs explicit directions, step by step. He needs you to pop in on him every 15 minutes to make sure his ADHD ain't kicked in. This young lady over here, she might be going through something, so you got to rub her belly a little bit to make her feel better about herself or whatever the situation is. But toe the line between making sure that you're not overstepping the boundary. There's a lot to it. But developing those individual relationships with people, the logic is understanding that you have to have a different relationship with each person. The emotional intelligence component is how you develop the relationship with each one of them. Hey, Steve, man, how's your son? Oh, man, he's doing much better. Thank you. Hey, man, heard about your mom, man. You know, saying my condolences. Thank you. Thank you. It's knowing what to say, who to say it to, when to say it, how to be genuine or how to appear genuine, how to develop these individual relationships, and how to not play yourself out in the room. It's rooted between a mixture of emotion and logic. So these worlds can't marry.
Now, see, that makes more sense to me. That makes sense.
You know, you
But
ever
we've already it's just we've already done that. We've been doing that. A lot of people have the ability, born with that capability, born with that power to do that. And it's just, I guess, actually seeing it now drawn out on paper. Yeah, we're gonna call that this.
we have
You
to
know,
think about it.
I'm looking at
Like
it as we've already done that. Like
we have
they
to think
just
about
added
it.
a title to it.
PTSD used to be called shell shock back in World War One.
Yeah.
But now it actually is something that people took time to look into when they injected to the Tuskegee Airmen with the syphilis and stuff like that.
The syphilis, yeah, hell yeah.
You know, you have to look at things that at one point in time they did. Black Wall Street didn't call itself Black Wall Street. It was just Asheville, North Carolina. It was just Greensville. Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was
Tulsa.
just areas. They didn't call themselves Black Wall Street. Somebody gave them that name. The mafia never called themselves the mafia. That's the name the media gave them. So a lot of these things have been around forever, but nobody gave them that name.
Man, I'm not knocking it.
No. What I'm saying is the fact that they have existed, but nobody did a formal study on it. Nobody did a formal study to understand the effects that it had until recently.
Right. I get you. I was just looking at it from the state of, any normal functioning person that we can all agree with, that the template of the decent human being, that's what that is.
In a sense, it's just the fact that it's not a one size fits all. Because when it comes down to guys specifically,
Just a template. A template is meant for you to start here, and then you manipulate it.
Oh yeah. Because some people's personality.
Just a template. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because some people's personality traits they just are a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Me being one of them. Anyway, guys, you got any last words you want to go ahead and throw out there for the folk?
Spread love, eat well, enjoy life, become more realistic with your dating choices. Really understand what you want for real. Be open, be confident, be willing to compromise. I mean, the list goes on, man, but that's all I got, man. Just love and love hard. Take care of each other, especially the person that love you. You know what I'm saying? Like, be mindful of the person that really do love you. You know what I'm saying? Treat them well. Handle them well. Handle the love right. Handle the love well.
His last words are my last words. I ain't got nothing else for y'all, man. I think I've been talking too much. Anyway, that's our time today. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Extraordinary Man Podcast. And you guys know your host. I am Phil Jones. And you guys know this handsome devil on the other side of me. State your name.
I am Midas. Make sure you put a king in front of that. Let's go.
I'm going to get it right one day. All right, y'all.
I'm doing like this, so it's the bright way every time.
Now I'm going up. Anyway. All right, y'all. Peace.